welcome to another episode of the Highlight Reel. My name is Nick Lynch.
And I'm Ben Heltzer.
And today we're going to be talking about a big trade that happened over the weekend, as well as some news about a few players and where they might be going. So to start off with the big trade, the 49ers have traded Deebo Samuel to the Washington Commanders. Honestly, I think this is a good trade for both teams because, Deebo Samuel over the past season, he hasn't been the greatest player for the 49ers. And I think this is a good pickup for Washington. And another receiver to that core.
Yeah, I 100% agree. They didn't give up that much to get him, so it was good for San Francisco to get him out of there, and it was good for Washington to sort of have a solid number two, reliable guy behind Terry McLaurin and just another weapon for Jaden Daniels to throw to. So I have no problems with this trade. I can see him as a Commander, and I think that he'll do great things next season.
Yeah, I agree. So next up, we're going to talk about T. Higgins. He gets franchise tagged. He will not sign with a big team. He will sign the franchise tag with the Bengals. Honestly, I think this is very disrespectful towards T. Higgins from Cincinnati, because they can just keep franchising him every year. And, I don't know when T. Higgins is going to leave, but eventually he's going to get tired of franchise tags, and he's going to want that long-term deal.
Yeah, 100%. I know I would, and I personally didn't expect him. I didn't expect this at all. I thought he would want to go somewhere else. He'd want to get his, long-term deal. He'd want to get his bag, especially if he could be a receiver one, which he could be on a lot of rosters. But I really don't know what the thought process was there. But Cincinnati franchise tags him for the second year in a row, and he's coming back to Cincy.
Yeah, I don't really know who else they could have used it on. Joe Burrow still gets two of his best receivers, but, I really wanted T. Higgins to go someplace else so he could be the wide receiver
Yeah,
one.
he could really shine if he was on, a team that needed a wide receiver one.
Yeah. So next we're going to talk about Myles Garrett. After he requested a trade, we're going to talk about where he's going to go. I think he could either go to Detroit or Buffalo, I think, are my two targets for Myles Garrett. If he goes to the Lions, him and Aiden Hutchinson, I would be afraid to play the Lions.
Yeah, 100%. I think that especially after Max Crosby re-signed with the Raiders, I think Myles Garrett is the guy to go after as far as D lineman edge rushers go, and he is extremely expensive. And I know the Bills and the Lions, aren't in the best financial situation, especially the Bills. So I could see him going to Detroit just to bolster up that D-line even more. But I would say the Bills need him a little more, and I know that both teams made an offer. So I definitely agree with you that if he was to go anywhere, those are definitely the top two teams that I think he could go to.
Yeah, I agree. You brought up Max Crosby before. We're going to talk about him next. I think, this is a good re-signing, I think, but I just feel like it's way too much money. He's the highest paid player, non-quarterback position now in the NFL. But Max Crosby is the only person what keeps the Raiders a football team right now. Besides him, the Raiders would be irrelevant.
Yeah, I agree. I guess the Raiders, they were in the position to pay him. They had the money. He was a great addition to the team, and he's, like you said, what is keeping them from irrelevance? I mean, they're pretty irrelevant right now, but I think with the right quarterback and a receiver to throw to, I think the Raiders could maybe compete in the division, but their division's really, really competitive. So I guess Max Crosby was kind of necessary.
Yeah, I agree. So next, DK Metcalf requests a trade from the Seahawks. I didn't see this coming, but I feel like it's time for DK to move on somewhere else. I don't think he's going to stay with the Seahawks. I think he's going to get traded to someplace, I don't know where, but I think some top targets for him would either be the Patriots, the Steelers, or, believe it or not, the Chargers, I think, would be a good fit for him.
Yeah, I can see him going to the Patriots. I think they have the money to give him the bag that he wants, and he'd be the receiver one there. Pittsburgh makes sense, but for some reason, I just feel like he's the kind of guy to go to Kansas City. I don't even know why, but he'd easily be the wide receiver one there. Actually, maybe not, but still, he'd be a prominent guy there. He'd get his spotlight, and he can get his long-term deal. He'd be competitive for that Super Bowl, obviously, on Kansas City. There have been talks with Buffalo. There have been talks with, I think, Pittsburgh, like you said, but I think at the end of the day, Metcalf just wants a bag, which is why New England is a good fit for him, in my opinion.
I also think Metcalf wants to win. He wants to.
I guess he wants like a good mix between the two. So yeah, it's really up in the air.
Yeah, which is why I think if Metcalf wants to win soon rather than later, I think the Chargers are a good fit for him because the Chargers, Ladd McConkey had a great rookie year, but I think adding an extra receiver to that offense, it makes a really good team for the Chargers.
I could definitely see that.
Yeah, and I mean, I don't know about this, but I could see the Chargers being a threat in the AFC next year, and yeah, I think adding DK would definitely help those odds.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. Well, that's it for us on the NFL, but up next is Andrew talking about soccer.
Hello, I am Andrew Mirzaaghasi, and I'll be talking about soccer. Once again, there is a lot of soccer news I'd like to cover, so let's get right into it. First, I would like to talk about Man City versus Tottenham, which was a 1-0 victory for Man City. Only reason why I'm disappointed is because there was only one goal in this entire game, and it was made by Haaland within 12 minutes. And yes, I should be happy right now because Man City did win. But, come on, Tottenham is near regulation. They suck as a team, yet we just scored one goal. It should have been at least 2 or 3-0. Honestly, I don't know how we're still in top 5 placement in the Premier League. It makes 0 sense because we need those goals if we have to maintain top 5 status, especially when we're competing for other teams like Chelsea, Newcastle, also Bournemouth for some reason, to stay in either Champions League status or Europa League status. It's either or, and I honestly have no clue what Man City's doing in the Premier League to begin with. However, moving on from Premier League, we have Man City versus Plymouth Argyle, which honestly, I don't know how this would go. They literally pulled an upset against Liverpool 1-0 and knocking Liverpool out of an FA Cup. But Man City were able to defeat them 3-1. And I'm proud of this because we showed that we proved that we can at least still do something, even though Liverpool is gone. So there might be a chance for FA Cup, but honestly, I have no clue. This was a very good victory. Now we're heading on to the 5th round, in which we would verse Bournemouth in the 5th round, which I have no clue how that's going to go. I hope we do win. But in this game, O'Reilly and De Bruyne scored in this game, so that's a plus. So other talent besides Haaland would score. And I would like to mention, I don't mind Haaland scoring. But he himself says it is tiring that he just does all of the job of just trying to score it, which I could see why, because he's the only quote-unquote striker, even though Foden and others can play. But I guess, yeah, that's like I said. Going to Barcelona now, we have the semifinals of Barca versus Atlético Madrid. This was the game to attend to. This was a 4-4 draw. It was a tie. And Barca was able to lock in after 7 minutes of 2 goals from Atlético Madrid. The only upset came from Atlético Madrid as they scored in the last second to tie it. This was a good game to attend to, even though this was the first leg. Yes, first leg, then goes to the second leg, in which there has to be a winner regardless. So we will see how it goes. This is very competitive, of course, as usually Barcelona, Real Madrid, and Atlético Madrid are top 3 in La Liga. So there's going to be both competitions, so I wish good luck to both of them to see how it goes. So going to the actual La Liga this time, there was Barcelona versus Real Sociedad, which was an absolute steal by Barca, 4-0 victory. This was truly a win for Barcelona as new talent were able to shine, such as Martin Cascado and Araujo, with Lewandowski scoring the last goal of the game. This was able to put Barca in first again in the La Liga. This was because Real Madrid lost to Real Betis 2-1, and this team has Antony in it. Yes, the Antony that was in Real Madrid and gave the one face that everyone recognizes as a meme. He went to Real Betis and is proven to be a very good player, which honestly, I don't know how that happens. He went from a joke from Real Madrid to possibly a threat into Real Betis. And I guess it shows because they won against Real Madrid. They were able to take a top 3 contender for La Liga and make him go to 3rd place now. So honestly, now the leaderboard has shaken because of this. So the order now is Barca, Atlético Madrid, and Real Madrid as top 3. Of course, it's not different teams, but it's a different order. So we'll see how it goes. But speaking of Barcelona, a rumor is spreading that in Barca of the return of Neymar Jr. Yes, number 11, Neymar Jr., possibility. The rumor states that he would like to return just to play until he retires to the club that he loves. But I highly doubt this because he went to Santos, which was his very first club before Barcelona. So I'm kind of confused on what he's doing. But overall, this is his choice. He can either stay in Santos, he goes to Barcelona, or he goes to Miami and goes with his friends Messi and Suarez to be there one last time and retire as a trio. But who knows? Like I said, this is just a rumor at the end of the day. We'll see what happens from there. But I think he's just going to stay in Santos for now. Going to end it here in the United States with the second leg of Inter Miami versus Sporting KC, a 3-1 victory for Inter Miami to advance in the CONCACAF Champions Cup. Both Messi and Suarez scored in this game, and so did Al-Ladi. Inter Miami are off to a good start, but the road to the Cup will only be difficult from here, so I wish them both luck to see how it goes. Then there is the MLS season, which it was Inter Miami versus Houston Dynamo, where it was an Inter Miami victory. Messi couldn't be in this game due to travel reasons. I couldn't find any specific travel reasons, but he wasn't there in the game. However, it was a very great start for Inter Miami in the MLS season, wishing them future success going forward from there. So now we move on to our standings. First place, Liverpool with 67 points. Second, Arsenal with 54 points. Third, Nottingham Forest with 48 points. Man City, 47 points. Fifth place, Chelsea with 46 points. It is getting more competitive by the week of who would go to the Champions League and who goes to the Europa League. I said multiple times before, Man City, Newcastle, Chelsea, and Bournemouth are both competing for who goes to the Champions League next year or the Europa League. Hopefully, Man City can stay in the Champions League, but showing how they would go against powerhouses like Real Madrid, it just shows that I don't think Man City can even pull it off anymore. Something tells me that in the last week or so, they would probably end up in the Europa League, but that's just my opinion because I don't see them really doing anything special when they bring their new team on the table because honestly, they were not doing that good in the Premier League at all. So thanks for watching, but don't go anywhere as Rocco and Matt will be talking about the NBA.
And welcome back to the NBA segment on the highlight reel. We're back to cover this past weekend. Let's start off with the Bucks and the Mavericks, 132 to 117. Bucks taking this one. What are your thoughts on this one?
Well, I think this was just about as predictable as it gets. Let's see here. Giannis had 29, Dame 28, and Gary Trent Jr. with 20. I mean, it's really nothing too surprising. I think the Bucks are a better team. The Mavericks, oh dear. If I was a Mavericks fan, I think I might stop watching the NBA. I mean, you trade Luka for a bag of chips, and Anthony Davis is injured, and now Kyrie Irving tore his ACL. Godspeed, prayers to him. I just feel bad for Mavericks fans. That's all I could really say. As a Knicks fan, I've been there and done that before, and I know all about pain and suffering when it comes to injuries, trades. It's just unfortunate. But for the Bucks, it's good they keep this momentum going forward. It's, I wouldn't say super competitive Eastern Conference, but you see the Cavs, Knicks, Celtics, all in a different tier compared to the rest of the teams in that conference.
Moving on, we got your Knicks against the Heat. Knicks taking this one 116 to 112. What are your thoughts on this one?
I mean, first off, can we just give Clutch Player of the Year award to Jalen Brunson already? Is there, I'm sorry, look around the league. Is there any guy that's more clutch than Jalen Brunson right now? The answer is no. Give him the award right now. He had 31, OG 23, Cat 19. A good comeback. I mean, it's the Miami Heat, but it's a good way to bounce back.
Hey,
and
take a win when you can, right?
yes, you take a win when you can, and you go on a winning streak. That's just what you got to do against teams. You beat teams you're supposed to.
Finally, we got the Raptors against the Magic. Raptors taking this one 104 to 102. What were your thoughts on this one?
One of the rare times when the Raptors are on my TV, they actually win a game, which is very surprising. My boys actually, I should emphasis on that. IQ, Emmanuel Quickly, 24, RJ Barrett with 22. My former New York Knicks, listen, the city still misses you guys. Trust me. We may have gotten better without you, but we still miss you. And Jacob Potelli with a nice 16 points game. I mean, Raptors needed a win, but is there really much to talk about with the Raptors at this point? They're just kind of like just floating on the water like a starfish almost. Like they're not competing. The Magic are injured, and it's just unfortunate. So hope those teams could just get healthier and going forward, compete in the near future.
Well, that's going to do it for us today, but don't go anywhere because next up is Miles and Luke on some more in the NBA.
Welcome to the highlight reel. This week we'll be talking about the final month of NBA basketball. Luke, I know you want to talk about your Knicks, so you could do that.
They played really well since Mitch came back from injury. He just changes the entire team. Defensively, they look so much better. Obviously, I think clutch player of the year should be Jalen Brunson. It's just game winner after game winner. You get into the clutch, he goes to the right wing, he hits a three. It's happened like 5 games in the last 2 weeks now. He's just been automatic in the clutch.
Yeah, you said you wanted to wait to record till the Warriors game. That was on Tuesday, and they got completely dismantled in that. But Cat was out. I think what you're saying with the Knicks is correct about Mitch, but I just don't know how much he can give you coming back from that ankle injury. I know it's not a natural ankle injury, obviously.
No, it was Embiid being dirty and pulling him down.
Yeah.
As he went up to dunk.
So, I don't know how much he can offer you at this point. Obviously, in a Thibodeau rotation, he's going to be like, okay, go out and give me 40 minutes. But I think him coming back allows you guys to play Mitch and Cat together, which is going to help out Cat tremendously because he is really not that
He's
great.
not a good defensive player.
Yeah, he's a great
He's a good scorer.
pick and roll guy.
Yeah. I think the two of them together will be really good in the playoffs. They haven't done it yet, but Cat's missed a couple games and Mitch has only played in like 3. Hopefully we get to see it tonight. And, yeah, against the Lakers, big game.
Mm-hmm. So that brings us up to the Lakers. They're on a 14-3 run in the last 17 games. Luka's been playing great. Obviously, he's finally gotten in shape. I don't know why it took him this long to get in shape.
It was the LeBron diet. LeBron got him there and just told him, hey, you're going to get in shape now. And it worked.
Finally, it took him long enough, but he's been doing well. He's been not shooting as much. I feel like he believes in the roster around him a lot more than he did with Dallas, but I really like what they're doing. JJ Redick, podcaster turned NBA coach. He's been
NBA
fantastic.
player too.
Yeah. If they needed a shooting guard, I think he could go out there and give him 20 minutes a night, but he's coaching really well over the last couple games.
Yeah. I'm not sure they can win a championship with Jackson Hayes as the starting center.
That's their one question.
That's the one question mark. Besides that, you got Luka, you got Reeves, you got LeBron, you got whichever one of those forwards. I'm not even sure which one of them plays between Finney-Smith, Vanderbilt, and Hachimura. They're all pretty good. It's just, can Jackson Hayes be good enough in the West against a guy like Chet Holmgren, Hartenstein, Jokic? I'm not sure he could really hang and keep them in games.
Yeah, that's what they're going to have to figure out. If they want to run 5-out spacing and just put Finney-Smith at center and just let the rebounding sort out itself. But that's going to be interesting when they come up against a real team in the West with a real center.
Yeah, it is. Now we're going to move on to the best team in the East, in the Cleveland Cavaliers. Best team in the NBA. Their record speaks for itself at like 51-10. It's ridiculous. Every night they just seem to win. It was the beginning of the year they were hot, and it was like, okay, this is nice. Eventually they'll start losing, and it just didn't happen.
Yeah, we did this episode at the start of the season, and we were like, oh, the Cavs are good.
Yeah.
It's a hot team right now, but they've done it over 5 months, and I'm starting to think that they're really turning up for playoff time. Again, I still have the same question with them. Is Evan Mobley and Jared Allen going to be good
Tough.
enough? Yeah, because their spacing is still not great. That's the one question.
Yeah, I'm not sure they could beat Boston still.
Yeah,
in a
and
7-game series.
another guy has been Ty Jerome. He's been a bench warmer.
He's been a great 6-man. He's probably top 2 for 6-man at the year. I know you want to say Peyton Pritchard.
Yeah,
but
he just
between
dropped
them
40
two
last night.
for 6-man of the
He's
year.
incredible. But Ty Jerome, he's been really good somehow. He was bench warmer for 4 years with Phoenix, and now he's just hit constantly 12 points a game. He's helped them out so much. And now I want to move on to the Warriors. So Jimmy Butler, he's been really well playing over the past 10 games. They're 9-1 in their last 10. Jonathan Kuminga, he's been doing really well. He's finally breaking out a little bit.
Yeah.
Moses Moody, seems like they're really hitting their stride right now.
Obviously Curry's Curry. He's been good the whole year, but they weren't really winning until they made the Jimmy Butler trade. And then they have been ridiculous since then. Kuminga, Podziemski's been good too. Those two have they thought they were going to be superstars when the Warriors drafted them. And they weren't much, but they're starting to look a little better. And those guys are good, the Warriors could be scary in the playoffs with Curry.
Yeah, the Pythagorean theorem finally putting it together. But Kevon Looney, always in playoff time, turns into prime Bill Russell. I don't know how he does it. He just grabs every rebound. But I don't really think Curry's going to be the best player on that team come playoff time. I think it's going to be Jimmy. I think we're
Yeah,
going to see.
playoff Jimmy.
Yeah.
He's always just become so much better.
One more ride for playoff Jimmy. They're my
Yeah.
sneaky pick to win the West.
Yeah, I could agree with that.
Yeah. So we'll see how the rest of the season shakes out. And that's going to do it for this week on the highlight reel. We'll see you next week.